Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, ZG. Joe bit outside, please do ask. We'll start in few minutes. Good morning, Varun. कोई भी डाउट हो पूछो ट्रेडिंग के रिलेटेड पर. Good morning, Nitesh. सही है. Yes, that is 150% as well. ID के हिसाब से मार्क करते हो. So this demand, if you map it at this point of action, एशियन सेशन का ट्रेड 150 से रिजेक्शन ले रहा है. नो डाउट. लॉन्ग के ट्रेड में ओके नहीं यार, सेटअप तो बनने दो. आज के दिन में एक ही ट्रेड हुआ है शॉर्ट का, इंटैक्ट लेवल्स. गुड मॉर्निंग उस्मान. गुड मॉर्निंग पाटिल. XYZ सर्चिंग ये इंडिकेटर है क्या? नहीं नहीं, वी ड्रॉ इट एवरी डे. समझाओ इस. डेफिनेटली समझाएंगे. गुड मॉर्निंग श्रेयस. So let's start with the analysis. Very good morning. So with daily time frame say 4 hours to 1 hour, 1 hour market analysis, right? To understand the moment allocations, what are the first things that we have to look? Where are the major point of interest of high volume for reversal action plans, correct? So in this scenario, हमको reversal के लिए Friday के दिन कहाँ पे indication मिला था? इस point of action पे, right? So with this action plan, we got an indication of a reversal. In that reversal, 150% से execution दिखा था short के तरफ. So with that, what do we have to do next? आज के दिन पे कहाँ पे development दिखा है, right? So इस development के लिए what are the few major things that we have to keep working on and what could be the major scenarios to allocate the directional movement for today? Monday है direction में रहेगा 80% to 90% of the time. So in this perspective, आज के दिन में क्या दिखा है? एशियन सेशन में फर्स्ट हाई वॉल्यूम, राइट? सो फर्स्ट हाई वॉल्यूम कहाँ पे है? मिनिमलिटी M1 200% के पास. जब मिनिमलिटी M1 200% के पास जब वॉल्यूम अलोकेट हुआ है, so market could take a rejection and create a reversal action plan till the nearest point of action. What is the nearest point of action? The intact level, which is allotted at 4060 to 4070, and second major allocation will be at 4082. So ये plan of action हम execution में देख सकते हैं towards long side. For that, what are the two major things that we have to follow? Let's come down to 15 minutes. In 15 minutes, market has indicated a nice flow through action plan. When a nice flow through action plan is created, what are the few major things that needs to be taken under the consideration before the execution? Where are the proper S2B1 setups created? Where are the proper executional points allotted? So in this allocation, what are the few major things that needs to be taken under the consideration? Each and every point of view needs to be allotted with a 15-minute supply and demand followed through the minimality or the surplus. So in this plan of action, on Friday, हमारे पास क्या था यहाँ पे? Minimality M1 form हुई थी. जब minimality M1 form हुई थी, we know that the targets are 150 then 200. So first rejection हमको कहाँ पे मिला था? 150 के पास. 150 के पास जो allocation में develop हुई थी, उस development के साथ continuity in the movement for 200. Right? So how do we look in pursuance of this executional point? Right? Volume spike definitely मिला है हमें यहाँ पे. So with this volume spike, what are the next things that we have to look for? आज के दिन में market gap up open हुआ था. Whenever there is a gap up opening, definitely market will tend to hunt, then continue the movement in the direction, right? So in that pursuance, what are the few major things that needs to be taken under the consideration? 150% का rejection point of action जो कि previous allocating point से होना चाहिए. So first come first serve के हिसाब से this one. So this point of action will get converted into the play. With the play, break and continue. With the break and continue, 150% rejection, right? So with 150% rejection, what did market tend to do? आज के दिन में जब gap up open हुआ था, gap up open होने के बाद the nearest point of action में आके rejection पे continuity in the movement development हुई थी. क्यों continuity in the movement develop हुई थी? Because 1 hour में market iceberg zone में था, right? So when markets are in iceberg zone, what does the market do? Market always tend to follow in a directional perspectives in the allocation, right? So in this formation, what are the two major things that needs to be kept under the precisions of allocation, right? So definitely market ने यहाँ पे आके gap up जो open था cover करके rebalance करके 150% से rejection जब लिया, Do we have a spot to execute? No, we don't have a spot to execute. जब spot नहीं है execution के लिए, so what are the first major things that you have to look for? Do we have an intact? If we have an intact, what is the next major step that needs to be looked and followed with? The rejection which has been taken in pursuance of that intact level. So in this point, where is the major intact point of today? This is the major intact point of, right? So creation of the setup, redevelopment of the positions, market, structure build out किया intact level, correct? So how do you map out this intact level कि इधर तक ही rejection आएगा? Through the following of the previous. So how do you look into that? There is a change in the character, there is a break, there is a sustainability. What is the next point that we'll be looking for? Conversions. Conversions will be taken from demand converted into supply. So this will play the role in this point. Is this the right mapping what we have done? Right? With the intact level, the execution could have taken the play, which we have done. Right? So with this point, what are the next major things for target allocation? Target allocation one, जो हमारा है TTS 2.0, right? Through the mathematical calculations. With that, जब directions में बने रहेंगे, what are the next major things that needs to be taken under the consideration? The considerative point of action which will be played at this ranges with the same conversion allocation, this is the demand which will be played out as one, which will rephrase the action one, break and continue two. So 150% rejection point with the allocation, right? So with this allocation, continuity आया market में. With the continuity, what are the next few steps which will be taken under the play? जो कि हमारा first come first serve demand है, because ये normal demand है, क्योंकि ना minimility है हमारे पास, ना precision allocation है, correct? So what we'll do, we'll allocate a first come first serve demand again. With the first come first serve demand, break and continue. With the break and continue, allocation of the target 150, right? So where is market taking rejection from? 150%. What do we have at this 150%? A high volume candle which has been created in this point, right? इस point of action में high volume development दिखा है. So क्या हम यहाँ से ही long के लिए बैठेंगे? नहीं. We have to reach the nearest point of action for execution. With that, a setup creation. With the setup creation, execution. What are the setups that we could expect? S2B1 setup. With S2B1 setup, there should be at least a followed through movement, or else there should be a three-wing setup, or else there should be a proper formation of intact graph, right? So with this point of action, what is currently market indicating, right? Market ने तो 1 hour का first intact level से rejection दिखाया. क्या ये intact के हिसाब से हम short में directly बेच सकते हैं? नहीं. Why? Because we have a LG point which has been created in the previous candle. So whenever there is a liquid graph candle, what we have to do, we have to look for an allocation in pursuance of the previous. So first come first serve का supply A है हमारा, तो mapping is also looked into the same era, right? So with this point, what do we notice? 1 and 2. 200% rejection. With the 200% rejection, market has slowly confined the movement towards the short, right? In this pursuance, क्या हम direct entry देख सकते हैं? नहीं. Post the proper liquidity grab is being taken and the setup has been formed, we will look for an execution, not prior to that. Okay. So this is gold. कोई भी doubts है, please do ask. Good morning, Suresh ji. कैसे हो? Good morning, Rampuram Maithili. Sir, what is LG point? Follow chapter LG point. Sir, we do have LG point at 4043. Yes, that's right. Rejection के साथ. Right? So these are the few things that you have to keep in mind always before following an allocation in a direction towards any kind of movement, because market direction में रहता है, with the intact look for an execution, not without it. ठीक है, कोई भी डाउट्स है प्लीज डू आस्क. Sir, what is the full form of LJ point? Liquidity grab. Thank you very much. No worries, LJ. Sir, mapping with volume analysis help a lot. Mapping is very good as of now. Keep going, ZG. You're doing a great job. सर साल के शुरू में 40 पिप्स एसएल 2-3 कैंडल्स में कवर होता था. अब सिंगल वीक में एसएल चला जाता है. न्यू एसएल कैसे डिसाइड करते हैं? एसएल की क्या कैलकुलेशन होती है? सी, सो हमने 20 पिप्स से 30 पिप्स, 40 पिप्स से 50 पिप्स इसके लिए बढ़ाया क्योंकि कैंडल वॉलेटिलिटी ज्यादा है. सो डेफिनेटली वन थिंग यू रिमेंबर, अगर आप सेटअप में एग्जीक्यूट नहीं कर रहे हो, जो भी साइड में डायरेक्शन में एस टू बी वन से एग्जीक्यूशन है या लॉन्ग के लिए एस टू बी वन से एग्जीक्यूशन है, थ्री विंग सेटअप के साथ एग्जीक्यूशन है, well and good, you're protected with a proper risk to reward, right? So if you are not protected with a proper risk to reward, आप यहाँ पे एंट्री ले रहे हो and we know that एस टू बी वन यहाँ पे डेफिनेटली फिर से एक हंट करके नीचे आएगा ना. सेम सिनेरियो लॉन्ग की तरफ भी, राइट? एस टू बी वन इंटैक्ट होने का वेट करो, एग्जीक्यूशन देखो, वॉल्यूम एनालिसिस के साथ रहो, राइट? आइसबर्ग जोन में है तो डायरेक्शन में बने रहो. अगर आइसबर्ग जोन में नहीं है, वॉल्यूम बिल्ड हुआ है, नियरेस्ट रिजेक्शन पॉइंट में है, look for an opposite direction of execution with the setup, right? So with that setup executions, execute the trade at the setup level. अगर थोड़ा भी ऊपर एग्जीक्यूशन हुआ या थोड़ा फोमो में आके रनिंग में एग्जीक्यूशन हुआ, डेफिनेटली एक वीक आएगा जहां पे आपका एसएल हंट होगा, उसके बाद फिर से सेम डायरेक्शन में जाएगा. सो एग्जीक्यूटिंग द ट्रेड्स इन द राइट डायरेक्शन इज वेरी मच इंपॉर्टेंट, राइट? एंड विद द सेटअप, नॉट अगेंस्ट इट. उस्मा, anyone has any doubts? Everyone, till the next high volume, the direction everyone knows which side the movement will be. So executions will be in pursuance to the same. Thank you, sir. No worries. Okay, so trying but सही entry समझ नहीं आ रही अभी. आएगा आएगा। ब्रेक एंड कंटिन्यू पे नया अलोकेशन देखना फैजा। यूनिवर्सल पॉइंट 80 pips running। आईडी में ट्रेड ऑफ एग्जीक्यूशन हुआ है तो वरुण फर्स्ट टारगेट 65 in that level, then second target 85। This is only for ID, nothing against it, okay? Got you। सर आपका सेटअप ने डेली 2 और 3 ट्रेड्स मिलता है क्या? Sir, where is 2.0 levels of this cell? Allocate it from this point. 1, 2, 3. Swing high, swing low, retracement। Sir, I question is where is your sell end level? आईडी के लिए यहाँ पे भाई this is exactly rejecting from intermediate ratio जहाँ पे वॉल्यूम स्पाइक आया था. Beautiful guys. How will you allocate the new structure now? So entry execution का MTSL point allot करो. MTSL point allot होने के बाद 2 मिनट में sustain होता है तो new level of allocations will come into the play, which is always taken in pursuance of the surplus. The surplus marking will be started from the point of action of the current movement plan. Right? So this surplus will be allotted in this point of action to the play. Okay? Which is exactly 65. बहुत बड़ा हो गया छोटा चाहिए. अगस्त MTSL स्ट्रॉन्ग रखो यार. क्या कर रहे हो? सिस्टम ट्रेलिंग को CTC पे लो. Sir, how to accurately take entry setups? There is many times when market comes to its supply and demand and forms a support, forms a setup, but it never goes through. How to think in that scenario? For example, 21st November, 5:30 to 5:45 UTC, formed S2 setup, but market reverse after formation. 5:30 to 5:45. Where is the setup here? In this zone, where is the setup? When market is in iceberg zone, wait for an allocation, right? High volume यहाँ पे develop हुआ, rejection आया, rejection आने के बाद settlement action plan कहाँ पे develop हुआ? Settlement action plan develop हुआ यहाँ पे, candle closure. So always you have to look into the pursuance of the allocation which is taken under the consideration of the point of interest, not in a direct movement plan. So in a direct movement plan, if you had followed S2B1 setup, the S2B1 setup execution could have been over here, right? So with this, it's a 100 pip SL, which is not a right point, right? So always a developmental action plan needs to be taken under the consideration. How do you do that? By allotting the movement, right? So with wick creation, understanding of retracement point, right? High wick range में क्या करते हैं? 100 to 150 का वेट करते हैं ना? So 150 rejection, then the setup formation, then the execution. Always remember that. Okay, Ritesh. But still the market is bearish today. ID is totally different and swing trading is totally different, my friend. So the day you capture 120 to 150 pips on a daily basis, let me know. I'll teach you how to allocate the right structure of swing as well. Okay. There are LG point at 3 and 3:30 UTC, of which 3:30 got covered. So how do we decide whether it will or it will not cover 3 o'clock LG point? You're talking about this candle, no? This candle LG point will also be covered post the intact level of long is covered. Not prior to that. See, always remember the action plans, right? So if a market is falling, right, and there is no intact created, and all of the sudden you see a propaganda movement which has been following in a movement action plan, and one sudden point you get a rejection. So in this rejection point of action, what does all the retailers does? They will look for a long in a FOMO execution point, right? Keeping in mind, the market will definitely create a formational setup to reach the intact point of this zone. So when this intact zone of action plan is created, that's when the next executional point will be allotted towards the short. So once it's been covered, then the market could take a reformation to hunt out the bearish movement allocations, not prior to that, right? So always remember, Ankit, whenever there is a formation which is redeveloped in a position without an wick creation or without any intacts in between A, B, C, so the allocation will always create a bullish movement before converting into the bearish, or a bearish movement before converting into the bullish. So you have to wait for that intact point of action. With that intact point of action only, trade-off execution will be taken under the play, not prior to that. Okay. Stream will be there for next 15 minutes. जो भी doubts है पूछ लो. नहीं नहीं यार, वेट करो फैजल, क्या कर रहे हो? सेटअप तो फॉर्म होने दो. 28 पॉइंट्स में क्या खेल रहे हो? M2 formation, 150, 200 target. With 150, 200 target, first come first serve complete हो चुका है. Second serving लेते हैं. Allocation point 1, which will be played out. Break and continue. 150. Surplus point of action. Redevelopmental structure. Replacing the act. 1. Again M2 formation. 200%. First come first serve rejection. Break and continue. Second serving. M1, M2 formation. 200% rejection. With the development, break and continue. With the break and continue, change of character, demand converted into supply. Followed through an action plan which has been taken under the consideration of first come first serve. Break and continue. 150% rejection. Faiza, this will be the allocation what you will be following. Developmental breakthrough के साथ ही, not prior to that. Okay. So this will be the allocation point, what we'll be looking for a new point of interest. किसी ने पूछा था बीटीसी कहाँ तक आएगा. नेक्स्ट एक्शन प्लान विल बी रिवील्ड. एमटीएसएल सबका 90,000 पे होगा, सिस्टम ट्रेलिंग 93,000 पे होगी. वन मोर ड्रॉप इज पेंडिंग गाइस. उसके बाद एग्जिट करेंगे स्विंग ट्रेड शॉर्ट का. नॉट प्रायोरिटी होते. ओके. सेटअप के साथ फॉर्मेशनल ड्रॉप. छाया ने पूछा था ना कहाँ तक गिरेगा. हो चुका है इंटैक्ट, और एक इंटैक्ट पेंडिंग है. उसके साथ एग्जीक्यूशन देखेंगे नेक्स्ट राउंड. There are intact pending at 4065, 4085, 4097. So why are we not expecting the price to hit those levels? Ideally, it should have covered the intact at 4085 in the morning for the move. उतना आसान थोड़ी है. Every movement action plan is always looked in pursuance to allocate the structures which has been followed through a rational proportional angle through the calculative purpose of a movement. सिंपल भाषा में रिटेलर्स का जब तक लिक्विडिटी हंट नहीं होती है, मतलब बेसिकली द नंबर ऑफ मनी डिप्लॉयड, आपके लैंग्वेज में जो है उसे एसएल हंट कहते हैं, हमारे लैंग्वेज में वॉल्यूम, राइट. जहाँ पे मेजॉरिटी ऑफ द नंबर्स इज बीइंग कैप्चर्ड. जब तक वो एक्शन प्लान डेवलप नहीं होता है तब तक हम देखेंगे नहीं. रिवाइंड करके चेक कर लेना. जस्ट रिवाइंड नहीं, कोई भी लाइव स्ट्रीमिंग उठा के देख लेना. You'll come to know what is a real action plan versus what is a perpetual action plan. So stop thinking like retailers. We don't hunt your SLs. उतना टाइम नहीं है हमारे पास. How to access that? What do you want to access, Ankit? The stream will be there for next 10 minutes. जो भी doubts है, please do ask. शॉर्ट के लिए भी देखना है तो सेटअप क्रिएट होने दो. विदाउट सेटअप नो एग्जीक्यूशंस विल बी एग्जीक्यूटेड. So always remember to execute it with the formations, not against it. Allocate किया ना BTC चाहे. Can MicroStrategy stocks liquidation effect? कहाँ से लेके कहाँ लेके जा रहे हो आप लोग? Sir, can you show any one of the stock? No, it's against the rules of SEBI. But चलो analysis तो कर ही सकते हो. Name the stock. Only one stock. Can MicroStrategy stock liquidation affect BTC? Short time impact रहेगा, long time नहीं. अच्छा, ठीक है. So majorly एक ही चीज यहाँ पे affect करेगा temporary impact में. So currently there is a talks between the holdings of German governments, right? अगर currently वो लोग 20 to 30% they have diluted it through a different wallet. So if it crosses 50% plus, then you can see for another 2-3 months of decline, right? Debt structure को analyze करके चलेंगे तो 2028 तक allocations of the BTCs and Ethereums will be stabilized. $43 billion उतना इफेक्ट नहीं करना चाहिए वैसे. या पैनिक सेलिंग अटैक हो सकता है, राइट। और फोमो एग्जीक्यूशंस में जो जो एंट्रीज हुआ, so that could be the perpetual movement action plan. डंप होगा? नहीं होगा। डंप होने के लिए ना, देर इज वन ब्रिज लेवल, वो ब्रिज लेवल कंट्रोल यूएस के हाथ में है, and they are converting all the debts through the crypto. So follow and through में अगर वो होता है, then it will be a big economical crisis, जो कि होने वाला नहीं है। So ये सब बहुत लंबी लंबी कहानी है, आधा सच आधा झूठ। Sir, can you show any one of the stock, any stocks, sir? ICICI बैंक और टेकन, मतलब आपका स्टॉक्स होल्डिंग उसमें है। Swing high, swing low, retracement point, golden ratio rejection, allocations देखना है, right? Stability, reservations. One, two, break and continue. Surplus allocation. Minimality M1 pound. Still 100% rejection. Price is point of action. Minimality M1 formed. 200% rejection. Redevelopmental criteria. Formation swing 1, swing 2, swing 3. All comes in first serving, so we'll take the second serving in the plate. Why we are taking second serving is because the first serving 200% is completed, break and continue, and we don't have any retracement point. Break and continue, 200% rejection. ये तो कोई भी कर सकता है, तो करो ना भाई, मैं मना कब किया? First action plan, break and continue. First come, second come, third serving, second serving allocation. मैंने मना किसी को नहीं किया, कर सकते हो तो करो, कमाओ, I'll be the most happiest person. 150% rejection, change in character, conversions, supply converted into demand, 100% break, allocation point 1, redevelopmental cost, M2 formation, retracement point of action, demand, point of view. So this is Rampura Maithili, your allocation on the break. The targets could be intact. नहीं तो continuity in the movement M2 formation का 200% target. तेरी नाम की Last 5 minutes, guys. जो भी doubts है, please do ask. Ankit, hope your answer is cleared with the hunt. Yeah. अगर आपको और क्लैरिटी चाहिए होल्डिंग में तो मैथिली आप डायरेक्टली वीकली में कर सकते हो इफ यू आर अ लॉन्ग टर्म इन्वेस्टर्स अरे भाई सेटअप ही नहीं बनाए शॉर्ट करके क्या करूंगा मैं 200 पिप की मूवमेंट है सो सो व्हाट in front of 700 pips 200 pips are like pennies so I'll wait for my setup फोमो में आके जो प्रॉफिट मैंने कमाया उस पे गवाना नहीं है so all the new members only one thing you guys have to keep in mind what is that 6 months of back testing 6 months of forward testing 1 month of live analysis regards to what strategy formulation concepts you guys are following it doesn't matter with that come with the smaller capital compounded with following a proper risk to reward while following a proper risk to reward make sure to control on your FOMO, greed, and fear. FGF. So, with that, how can you do that? Through meditation, reading books, and yoga. Following a proper risk to reward while learning from the mistakes what you have done because it's your hard earned money. It's the money that you have earned by sweat and blood. So, protect it, don't blow it through any kind of guidance which is manipulative to you. Remember one thing your money, your setup, your execution, your analysis, your mindset, your psychology. This is Nitesh signing off. मिलते हैं अगली सेशन में तब तक के लिए टेक केयर बाय बाय